So Tari Eason, he's definitely been surprising a lot of people in his last two games, and in my opinion, he's probably the steal of the draft, and that's going to be the title for this video, because he's been impressing a lot of people, and being picked number 17th, we didn't really expect him to produce this well. And in my opinion, I didn't think he would produce this well, but looking at it right now, he's been absolutely amazing. And he's definitely been one of our best players, if not the best player on our Summer League roster. And today we're going to talk about why Tari Eason is going to be the steal of the draft and what he provides to this Rockets team moving forward. I mean, obviously we know that he's a defensive monster, but also offensively, he isn't too far out. I mean, obviously his shots haven't been going in from three. I want to say he's definitely not been shooting the three ball well, but he's definitely taking them with confidence, and that's what we really want to see, because obviously Summer League, it's just a time to get adjusted to the NBA, because you're playing against NBA level talent. Some players have been playing since last season, obviously being a sophomore, but kind of just working out every little weakness in your game before the NBA season starts. And especially with Tari Eason and Jabari Smith, they have a lot of weaknesses that they really need to iron out before the start of the NBA season. And today we're going to talk about why Tari Eason is going to be still the draft and what he has for the future for the Houston Rockets moving forward. So what's up? My name is Rockets Empire. If you like what you see, drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it. And let's get into it. So his first game against the Magic, absolutely amazing. His debut game, dropped 14 points, 13 rebounds. Great game overall. In 25 minutes, he was a defensive beast. I think right out the gate, the first possession for the Magic, RJ Hampton was handling the ball in the post, and Tari Eason was putting him in lockdown. I mean, he definitely is a great on-ball defender, great overall defender. I mean, his defense kind of reminds me like a Robert Covington type of player, where he's a great help defender, but also on ball isn't too bad either. So looking at his last game against the Orlando Magic, he was also really great. Definitely, probably, yeah, I want to say he was our best player last night against the Thunder. So looking at his stats from last night, if I pull up the game right here, so he dropped around, 14 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Dropped another double-double. First of all, I mean, in his second game in the Summer League, another double-double. So already has 2 under his belt, adding alongside 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block on 5 of 10 from the field and 1 of 3 from 3. Definitely more efficient than last game. I think last game he dropped like 6 of 17 from the field and like 2 of 9 from 3. So obviously he wasn't the most efficient last game. This game went 5 of 10 from the field and 1 of 3 from 3. So still on a little bit of the inefficient side, but at the same time, I mean, he's still taking less shots, taking smarter shots first and foremost. I mean, he took less threes, kind of just getting into the rhythm of the game. And this game alone, I mean, the only real downside to his game was that he had 6 fouls and 3 turnovers. So obviously being that in the NBA, the limit is 5 fouls. So you got to get that foul trouble a little bit down, but he should be fine there. Obviously, I mean, him and Şengün are going to be pretty much working together, because Şengün also has his fair share of foul trouble. But Tari Eason, I mean, he has been very impressive. Offensively, I didn't really expect him to be this productive. And especially last night, I mean, he was doing a great job getting to his spots, getting, into the driving lanes, dunking the ball, being pretty athletic, getting to the cup. And that's pretty much his biggest selling point on offense, is that his driving ability, and also I want to say his 3-point ability has been pretty great. Looking at his college stuff, I mean, I saw a lot of plays where he was a pretty great 3-point shooter. I think he can. I still think his 3-point shot is a little bit wonky. I think his release point's a little bit too low. I mean, obviously that's going to come with a lot of practice and working out in the offseason, but for right now, I mean, he's still a rookie, so he still has a lot of room to grow. But Tari Eason, he definitely has a high ceiling, and he could be probably one of the best two-way players I've seen in a while. I mean, obviously Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, some of the best two-way players we're talking about as of right now in the league. I mean, if you want to call LeBron James a two-way player, you could, but Tari Eason, I mean, he could be kind of like a better version of a Robert Covington type of player, because obviously Robert Covington, when you look at him, defense is his biggest thing, but also being a good spot-up shooter and, basically taking some heavy three-pointers in the game. So I can kind of see Tari Eason being the same thing, but he's obviously way more athletic, younger. He can definitely dunk the ball, and I think he won't be as streaky as Robert Covington, because I think his 3-ball is good enough to be at the NBA level. Obviously, Tari Eason, we still haven't seen too much out of him because it's only been 2 games, but in these 2 games, I've seen some pretty great flashes of someone that can, play some great defense and shoot the 3-ball at a pretty high clip. So we'll get into how he fits in with the Rockets system in the regular season. So out the gate, I don't really expect him to get too many minutes. I mean, off the bench, I think he's going to be mostly a bench role player for the first half of the season, kind of just seeing what he's going to be able to do. Gordon, obviously going to be reserved in that 3 spot in the starting lineup alongside KPJ and Jalen Green. But yeah, I mean, Tari Eason, if he starts to ramp up his play, kind of just get the hype off the bench and start playing at a high level, I definitely see him definitely getting the start over Eric Gordon. I mean, Gordon, for most of his career, especially like I want to say before last season, he was more of a bench to role player. In 2020, we saw that majority of the season he was coming off the bench. But yeah, Tari Eason, if he continues to produce at a high level on both ends of the floor, I think he's going to be definitely a starter by the end of next season. So I'm hoping that he becomes a starter because that defense is going to be really crucial for us. Obviously, our defense was pretty horrible last season because obviously we didn't have too great of a defender on our team. I mean, we all had pretty average defenders. If we look at last season, I think who was our best defender last season? I can't even remember because we had a lot of pretty subpar defenders. I want to say it was probably like Usman Gruber, Josh Christopher off the bench. We didn't have good defenders, but now adding in Jabari Smith, adding in Tari Eason, 2 great defenders. Someone that can be probably a defensive player of the year in Tari Eason or Jabari Smith. Adding in Ty Washington, who also is a pretty great on-ball defender. And we're talking about, I wouldn't say a better defense than last season by a larger margin, but definitely better than what it was. So Tari Eason, I definitely think he's going to help out on the perimeter alongside Jabari Smith. And the defensive versatility between the two of them is great. I think we saw that last game against Chet Holmgren and the OKC Thunder, or even against Paolo Banchero too. I mean, Chet Holmgren, I think Tari Eason was on him for some possessions, Jabari Smith was on him for some possessions, and against Paolo Banchero, they were kind of arguing who would guard Paolo Banchero, and it was just a great sight to see because I think both of them could be really great defensively, and the versatility on both ends of the floor is going to be great for the Houston culture. I mean, Jabari Smith, I think he still has a long way to go. Obviously, his 3-pointer isn't going down yet. I still think he has a long way to go, but in due time, I think his shots are definitely going to fall. I mean, he's a shooter. He's always been a shooter. He's been a defensive monster, and all he has to do is just get into the gym, work on his shot, and his shots are going to be falling once he starts getting into the gym more. So same thing with Tari Eason. I think he's going to be probably one of our best players on the roster, definitely an underrated player at that. And I think he could be a dark horse contender for an all-rookie team next season. I think off the bench, if he starts to produce well, he could definitely be a throw-in for all-rookie second or maybe even all-rookie first, depending on what happens. So let me guys know what you guys think about Tari Eason. Has he been impressing you? Has he not? I think for a majority of the Rockets community, Tari Eason has definitely been probably their favorite player on the Rockets Summer League right now. So hopefully Tari Eason can keep up this high level of play. Hopefully he can get the start over next season against Eric Gordon. And hopefully he can keep up this high level of pace because I think if he keeps riding this momentum, he's definitely going to get a start role sooner than later because I think he's showing out and he's definitely producing a lot earlier than I thought he would. So if he keeps up this high level of momentum, if he keeps up this high level of pace, he definitely could get the starting position sooner than later. So that's the video. My name is Rockets Empire, and out. Peace.